Back in the day, I used to be a NEUROFUNK producer, and I know this might come as a surprise to a lot of people because you don't know me from that side, but that is the truth. From 2010, I think, until 2016, all I did on my free time was creating complex basses. And honestly, that was pretty much impossible. Like, you had no tutorials, there was no people on YouTube. I think I was one of the first people on YouTube to make NEUROFUNK basses in 2015. So before that, there was barely any helpful information, and the genre kept evolving with such speeds, you had 0% chance of keeping up with the best people in the scene. So I'm going to try and remember my old methods. Keep in mind, I haven't been producing NEUROFUNK for like 8 years now, and that sounds funny on its own, but what if we try and synthesize the basses in the way that I did in 2016? Let's see what happens. I remember back in the day there was this NEUROFUNK party, and I met this guy from Aggressor Bunks. His name is Nikolai, and he was like the headliner, and he was like the big guy on the Eat Brain label, one of the biggest artists on the label back in the day. So we talked about the process of creating bass lines, and I found it really funny that both of us used the same stupid method, which was using 3x OSC, which is the shittiest plugin. It's like a default plugin from FL Studio. I'm sorry, I got nothing against ImageLine, but this is useless if you don't know how to use external editing. So if you listen to the wavetables, it's so freaking dumb, and there is not much you can do with it as well, like internally, because you have a couple of wavetables, a coarse pitch button, like a fine pitch button, which is the same pretty much, similar purpose, right? Detune, and you know, that's it. You can go and edit some stuff in the wrapper settings, sample settings, but it's still, I mean, it's so limited. Okay, so what I learned to do was to create external sound effects and add distortions and equalizers and distortions and equalizers and phasers and equalizers and again distortions.
10 minutes later.
Anyways, it's funny that this used to be the method, and let's just jump into this. I was too lazy, so I decided to download samples from Tediculars, from Splice. Let's hear the drums. Tediculars, shout out to you guys. This is the best sample pack for NEUROFUNK on Splice. Everybody should get it. Absolutely the best reference for any drums, for heavy drum and bass that you want to have. Possibly for dubstep too. So what I want to talk about here is how I usually started to create my basses. First, I used to make the drums because the drums are like the driving force of your bass. You have to make sure that they work together. You don't want your bass to sound great separately. Instead, what you're looking for is for the bass that fits the specific drum line. And for this reason, I always try to use as few different sounds for my drums as possible, because it can fake the groove. You know, if you have too many elements, they can mask the problems. So instead, I want to make sure that my bass is actually making the drums work. But this is a really stupid way of making the bass. So let me show you this. It really is dumb, like, if you think of it, but everybody not everybody, but a lot of us FL Studio users used to do that, even Aggressor Bunks, which is hilarious to me. Like, okay, so I have this like sine wave, whatever. I'm gonna change some wavetables around. This is what we get, right? So we go 1 octave lower. Ooh, we get like a pretty good feel of the bass. And I'm assigning it to second mixer track. And I'm gonna add some, like, I'm just gonna go for the same way that I used to make basses back in the day. So I'm gonna add some like fast dist, which is a random distortion plugin for FL Studio. I don't remember how I used to use this one, but it pretty much just adds a little bit of that grit. Nothing special. Here's still the annoying high end. Let's look into this further, and I think we want to make something unpredictable. So back in the day, I used to open vocoder. There you go. And just adjust it somehow. For whatever reason, I think I ate too much low end. Yeah, there you go. So try to adjust it just randomly and see what happens. Yeah. Now, next thing you want to do, because you add too many different sound effects, like, you want to make sure that you adjust your equalizer. So what I used to do a lot, I used to make sure I don't have too much mid information. So I would make notch filters like this, and add some wave shaper on top of it. Yeah, it does start to sound a little bit like I used to make my basses. Though it sounds kind of boring for now, so we need to play around with the fine pitch, with the wavetables, see what happens. Maybe it starts to sound a bit better. Maybe not. No, definitely not better. Oh, this is kind of better though. So let's play around with the key tracking. Let's go lower, one key lower. It starts to sound a little bit like NEUROFUNK bass, but it's still really far away. So what I want to do is I want to add some reverb. Back in the day, I would use a random FL Studio reverb, just like this, like very, very short. Not side mode. And maybe add some, like, I don't know. Let's go and add some flanger, I guess, something like that. But yeah, we used to do too much of that, so I'm gonna probably keep the signal more or less dry. Oh, it's so loud and fat. Let me change the main volume. It's a little bit too freaking... Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to add one more equalizer and then add another distortion, and possibly something crazy happens. Let's see. You never know. You really never know. Like, it's absolutely random. Let's try like this and add some distortion on top of it. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more like a bass, but it's still pretty dumb. So let's play around with the wavetables. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. I'm gonna add another equalizer to make sure I don't have a lot of low mid mud. There's too much stuff there. Yeah, somewhere between low mids and the basses. This is so ugly, but you can eventually do something good with it. Just gotta keep trying, and that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is pretty interesting. This is pretty intense, too. Also, the funny part is that a lot of the times those basses will sound better with different scales. So, like, you can hear that it sounds much better in the scale. So this is what we used to do. Like, me personally, this is what I used to do. So I used to right click on the pattern right here, quick render as audio clip, or do something similar to that. I don't remember if the old FL Studio would allow for us to do that. Then I have this audio file, okay? Now what I was gonna do, I was looking here, like, which scale do I want? I want this one. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 keys down. I'm gonna shift it by 400 cents and listen to how it sounds. I mean, it's pretty ugly, but we can choose different stretch methods. And we can play them in reverse. Pretty cool. Now I'm gonna take this pattern and I'm gonna make a unique copy of it, turn it back into the normal mode, and I'm gonna try and make those little stab basses, doom, 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 something like that. Yeah. And now what you can do is you can essentially put them on separate mixer tracks, okay? So let's say mixer track number 1, all bass. I'm gonna place this one right there as well, and I'm gonna play them with a MIDI out. I mean, I'm gonna sidechain them with a MIDI out. So let's draw a kick snare pattern, put it in the playlist. Now we have those basses. I'm gonna open Kickstart 2 right here, go to the MIDI mode, click on the detail settings, wrapper settings, input port, put it to 0, and Now it's gonna let the drums cut through the mix. Pretty cool, isn't it? So, I mean, I'm not sure if those basses are like really unique or something, but it works. It's like the craziest method of making basses. It's like, I don't know if somebody does that outside of that small community of crazy people that learned this trick. And I don't know, just let me know in the comments if you do something like that. And I'm gonna try and create another bass. I'm gonna put it on the same chain, but I'm gonna make it a little bit different. This time I'm gonna go do something like this. Something like this. Ooh, this is pretty good. I like it. Let me try and detune it a little bit. This is pretty cool, but this time I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna disable the send to master and put my send to third pattern, because, you know, there's only 10 slots here. I want more effects, I want more grit, and I want more weirdness. So I'm gonna make an equalizer to add even more low end. Like, my FL Studio is gonna explode now. And I'm gonna make a moving notch filter like this. And I'm gonna equalize it and put it right here, so that when we have a transition, I'm gonna have this thing going on. So let's listen how it sounds. I don't know, this is really strange, but I'm enjoying the process, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this one too. So let's see. Let's try to make some groove, okay? Let's make it a little bit. Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, the bass is a little bit too loud, but we can always export it. And let me do just that. I'm gonna actually use Edison this time, because we have an ongoing automation, so I'm gonna use the Edison here. Yeah, not too bad. So I'm gonna cut out all the noises. Boom, there you go. There we go. There we have it. So now I'm gonna put it on the same mixer track. Mixer track number 1, because then it's affected by the sidechain. There you go. So this is the groove that we have. This is so weird, but why not? You can reverse it and see what happens. Yeah, why not? Now also, like, make sure that your basses are not screaming too much, because they are right now. Instead, I'm gonna limit them to -3, I guess. I mean, a little bit of soft clipping is required here. Yeah. And now I want to put a soft clipper on the master, make the loudness as much as possible. And I'm gonna use Pro L2 to make it louder. I'm gonna use the aggressive mode, and I want to have like -3, -4 LUFS. Jesus, I don't like the hat though. I don't think this particular one fits to the track. Maybe this one would be better. Yep. So you can add a few like drum layers here, and it sounds pretty good. I don't know if this one is gonna fit, but this one is gonna be pretty cool, I'm pretty sure. Let me try that. So the kick drum is a little bit too heavy, but this video is not about the drums. So as you can see, this method of creating basses, you can do so many things with it. You can go back and forth with different effects. You can, like, if I wanted to make more unique bass lines, what I would do in this situation right here was, I would probably open like Massive or Serum. I don't care. I could open Serum. I could open any plugin here. And I'm going to put it on the same mixer track, and I'm going to try and play with the wavetables. So let's try different wavetables with this chain of effects. Let's go to Spectral and play around. Okay, it's time to end the video.